Hi all, this is Andy Randano, CEO and co-founder of Alef Omega. So first I want to thank you all for agreeing to be beta testers. Any input you guys have would be absolutely beneficial to us. Feel free to email me or call me. You should have my contact information in the emails I've sent you. So I wanted to give you a very basic tutorial on how to get started with the app so that you don't have the screen pop up and have no idea what to do. So I'm going to talk about how to input and manipulate expressions. So here's the opening screen. This is what will pop up when you start the app. You have a bunch of buttons. I'll go over what those do in a second. For right now, the most important thing is the upper button on the left, the one that's highlighted. That's the input slash manipulate toggle button. All right. So right now we're in input mode, which means you can input expressions in this mode. If you toggle it to manipulate mode, once you have your expression finished, then you can manipulate expressions. In manipulate mode, everything you do is mathematically sound. It doesn't make an algebraic error. In input mode, that's not true. Okay. So let me just go over some before I get started on that. Let me say, if you need more screen space, you can always just take the menu, swipe it up, pull it back down, or take the keyboard, swipe it down. Okay. If I want to move expressions around, use two fingers, just tap on an expression, I can drag it around. If I want to zoom, I can use pinch open or close. Very basic things. Okay. So let me go over how to input an expression, how to do a very basic manipulation. So let's start with something very easy. Tap on one of these input boxes. Let's do A equals B. So A equals B. Okay. Now I've inputted the expression. All right. Let's go to manipulate mode. So click the button on the upper left. Okay. Now I'm in manipulate mode. So in manipulate mode, anything I do to this expression will be mathematically correct. So let's take the b and move it to the other side. So I want a minus b equals 0. All right. So click on the b and drag it around. Now what you'll see, you have lights that pop up. Those lights indicate all the places where I can drop the b. Right now I have 3 different places. So for example, if I drop it here, so I'm going to drag it onto that light, the light will be highlighted, which means I can now release it and it'll drop it into a minus b equals 0. Okay. Now, if I want to go back, I can always use the back button. Well, I can always just drag it back, or I could use the back button, which is the buttons on the upper right. Okay. All right. So now, if I wanted to, for example, place it somewhere else, if I place it over here, it'll be negative b plus a. Let's place it underneath. All right. So that divides. Okay, and that of course assumes b is not equal to 0. Now it's fun to just play around with this and see what you can do. So for example, if I drag the a, I have a bunch of different places I can place it. Let's put it on the other side. Okay, and let's drag this whole expression. Let's put it right here. Okay, and combine these two expressions, the two fractions. Okay. And let's clean it up a little bit. Drag the 1 onto the b. All right, so now we have a minus b is over b times a is equal to 0. Okay, so now let me explain to you what this grouping button is. So the grouping button is this ABC button on the top. All right, so let me click that button. The grouping button allows you to select sub-expressions. All right. So for example, let's say I want to select the a minus b and drag that whole thing as a unit. So I click on the a, selects the a. If I click on the b now, it'll select that whole unit. Okay. Now I can drag the whole unit as if it were one object. Okay. Let's click on something else. All right. Let's click on the b and the a. All right. If I want to drag that over to the other side, now I can grab that, drag it to the other side, and I'm pretty close to my original expression. There we go. Okay. All right, now let's try a more complicated expression. So go back to input mode. All right. Now let's delete this equation. There's a delete button down here on the keyboard. So just select the whole expression by clicking the equal sign, hit delete. All right, so let me start with 3x. Let's try 3x plus a. So 3x. Now what I want to put in here is 3x plus a. By default, we have the last sub-expression that was inputted is automatically selected. So if I were just to hit plus at this point, it would give me 3 times x plus whatever I want, plus a. All right. But I just want 3x plus a. So again, I'm going to use the group button, select the 3x. Now I'm going to, when I hit plus, it just adds it to the 3x as if it were a sub-expression. Okay. Okay. So let's make this a little bit more complicated. Let's put in, I'm just going to put in something random here. 3x plus a minus b equals 7. And to show you some more functionality, let me add in what a and b are. So to pop up a new equation, just double tap anywhere on the background, okay? And I'll put in a is equal to 5, and let's put in something for b as well. B is equal to 3. Oops, 3. That's 33. 3. Okay. All right. So now we have a system of equations, linear system of equations. Let's try to solve this. And you can play around with this. You can make these as complicated as you want. Linear equations are very easy to solve with Alef. All right, so let's start with the top expression. We're trying to solve for x, so let me isolate x on the left-hand side. Okay, so drag the b over, drag the a over, and let's divide by 3. Okay, so now I've got x isolated in terms of a and b. Now I can do substitution. I just take my a equals 5 equation, drag the a onto the other equation, and it does the proper substitution. Do the same thing with b. Okay, now I've got x as a totally numerical expression. Okay, to do basic arithmetics, you just simply drag and drop. So if I want to combine the 3 and the 7, drag the 3 onto the 7, or vice versa, and it gives me a numerical number. Right. Same thing with fractions. Drag the 3 onto the 5, and it gives me the numerical answer. Okay. Now, suppose I want to toggle back and forth between a decimal representation of a number and a fractional representation. I can just use the group button to select that number, then hit this equals button. The equals button toggles back and forth between the numerical, the decimal expansion and then the fraction. Okay. All right, so that's the basic of how to use Alef. In the full video, we're going to have a much better tutorial, which will be built in with the app. I just wanted to give you something to get started. Again, any feedback that you have would be very valuable, especially if you have feedback, for example, on how to create a very nice intro video that doesn't turn people off and allows them to get started. That'd be excellent. Anyway, thank you.